Welcome to Monday.
Good morning, Monday.
It's the start of a brand new week. What's the report? I've just injured my shoulder, falling off a child's scooter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Kelly and I are wearing exactly opposite attire for the passage we're about to commence on. I'm wearing shorts.
We're off on another part of our passage, making our way back to England and making the best of the good weather and the good tides and getting as far as we can for the next 2 days.
Cool, let's go.
We left the Lorient and made our way to Port La Fourette. Well, that's where I thought we were going. Turns out I was wrong.
Another Kelly classic navigation error. I was just double checking the chart and it looked like it went down to like 0.3 on the chart, and so I queried it, sent Hugh a text because he's downstairs watching the film. Anyway, sent him a text saying, "Are you sure this is right?" And he goes, "Yeah, it only goes down to 2.3. And then I sent him a screenshot and he quickly ran up and says, "Where are you going?" And apparently I was taking us to a completely different marina. So actually we're going to get there a good 45 minutes earlier than I thought, and it is the correct marina now. My getting us there is perfectly fine, it's just actually getting the right destination in the first place.
We arrived in Concarneau, tied up and tried to make full use of the short amount of time we had there with a family run-splore. This place was a fascinating walled town. We started in the art gallery before climbing onto the ramparts.
Oh, this is amazing. I love it.
Can you hear?
No burgers, no ice cream,
No dogs.
no shakes.
And no milkshakes. Other than that, you're allowed anything you want.
Everything is just so intact, even like the village and the town and these ramparts. It's pretty cool.
Here we are today, on the day that is today, which I think is today, which may well be a Monday, I'm not sure, and I'm walking along the ramparts of a 15th century castle wall. Some people plan their holidays and go, right, on Monday we're going to see the falls, and Tuesday we're going to go to the beach, and they know exactly where they're going to go. And that's quite good. We didn't have a clue we were coming here, and it's amazing.
Some of the best days we have is when we don't plan though. That's always been the case. Follow the camper van.
So riveted. We have been in Concarneau now for about 4 hours and we've packed in everything we can. This place is beautiful, it's stunning, it's a really cool place. However, we have to move on. There's a big load of pressure coming across in the next few days, some very stormy weather, and we want to get a bit further north before we get hit by that, because once we get past that in terms of time scale, we'll only have a week or so left for our adventure, and we want to get back to England in that time. It's getting late in the evening now, and I've set Kelvin a bit of a challenge. So far it's been mainly me doing the passage planning with a little bit of Kelly, and I just pulled Kelvin out of his nice comfortable movie time he was just about to have. And said, "Hey, do you fancy coming to do something passage planning tomorrow? It's quite a tricky route, there's a bit to think about." 60 miles we're going to do tomorrow, so it'll take most of the day. And I did a very quick tidal calculation earlier. So Kelvin's going to go through all that now and see if we're right and what time we actually need to leave to make things work. Like all these things, there's so much to think about, right? You've got to time it right with the tides, there's a race tomorrow to get right. And then you've got to think about daylight, dark, which makes things a lot trickier when it is night time. You've then got the complications of wind, and whether or not it's going to be helping you, against you, and therefore what speed you might be able to obtain. Even more of a factor in many ways is the sea state, how choppy it is. Today we had about 1.4s, 1.5s metres of swell. The day before was even more than that. And then hopefully tomorrow looking a bit better. But the winds are high tomorrow, we're into sort of 4.6s, maybe a bit more, it's into the high 20s sometimes. However, if the sea state's not too bad, winds are high, we can cope with that, and actually we could maybe have a really fast passage, just a couple of reefs in, but we shall see. So all these things have got to be thought about before we go anywhere. It's just before 9 o'clock. Cohen's passage plan looks like it's going to stand up, so we're off. We've got 2 reefs in the mainsail in case we get into a bit of trouble with high winds later. But right now it feels like we should have full sail out. But wait and see. Still be there.
It got a little choppy, but that didn't stop the girls from trying to put on a dance show. Hugh had to eat his lunch on the floor and then got a surprise attack from the cupboard bursting open and spewing its contents. No broken glass this time. We really must fix that catch. But then the extreme lows were replaced with extreme highs.
I don't know where to look. There's so many. They're not just on one side either.
And then it was time to snuggle down and watch the sunset with a spot of daytime stargazing.
But then this is showing us all the stars that we can't see yet.
What's that star?
We arrived on a high to Cammeray-sur-la-Mer and then started the following day with a low.
We were trying to move the boat because the pontoon we're on, the electric's broken, so we were trying to move the pontoon that has electric. That was proving tricky. We were making some mistakes doing that, and then we couldn't go where we wanted to go, so we had to reset everything. We had a big bang, and so I thought the kids had knocked a fire extinguisher. And then Kelvin went down and checked, and it wasn't a fire extinguisher, it was the hydraulic pipes that had burst. It literally ruptured the side of the pipe, and it was spraying everywhere. So we got most of Kelvin's room and all his clothes, and a lot of the bathroom and all that area is all completely covered in oil. But the point was, we were out in quite strong winds and floating around the harbour still, so we had to stop and we had to get the boat tied up and secure before we can deal with it.
Oil on the ceiling, every wall, all of Kelvin's things covered, in the bilges. We tried to dilute it and clean it as best we could, and the kids had to have their lunch on the chart table.
Cinderella at work.
We all took our turns at being Cinderella. There was so much damage, mainly Kelvin's things, which we tried to clean as best we could. We finally had our lunch and then went off to explore. We've been really struck by the amount of physical reminders of human conflict throughout history, most noticeably the German occupation, which physically changed the French landscape. There are reminders everywhere, and it was great for the kids to see history up close. Hugh wants you to admire this carefully carved stonework around the handrails. In fairness, the acoustics were fantastic.
Into the unknown, into the unknown.
A temple. Whoa! It's really long.
The next day, we were off again.
Today we really ummed and ahed about coming out. We weren't sure, and it's ended up being an absolutely amazing passage. The first couple of hours were choppy as we had to get out of the Brest Bay, and it was just all the Atlantic swell. But once we got past into the Channel de Four, into the race, all the lands obviously broke up the swell, and now we're having a fantastic, being 7 knots all day so far. So originally we were going to Laboac, and Laboac is just there right now, but it's only 1:30, and Roscoff's another 25 miles up the coast, so we're going to try and go there. So Roscoff may well be, it's one of the major ports, it's a place where we can check out from.
This could be the last French marina that Hugh has to phone this season.
Let's find out, shall we? See how good Dad's French has got. Bonjour, je suis voudrais un moulage pour ce soir.
Oui, c'est pour un bateau de quelle longueur?
Mon bateau est 16 mètres de long.
16 mètres de long?
Oui.
D'accord, j'ai de la place ponton A, alpha, le côté nord du ponton.
Ok, merci.
C'est le numéro 43. C'est du bâbord à quai.
Une minute, je suis anglais, so repeatez.
This is a Puntum Alpha north side, and this number is 43, on this port side for the catway.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
No problem, sir.
We should be there in about 4 hours' time.
Harrison made to attack the longitude problem. Even though precision pendulum number 2 was the best clock in the world,
Watching a documentary about the Longitude Prize seemed like a fitting accompaniment to the trip.
Gotcha. Yep. Well done.
It's an island you've got.
From Athlone, which is right there. We call it the dead centre.
Parents, my grandfather's from County Meath and my grandma's from just outside Dublin, Rollerstown.
Okay, I'm Westmeath.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's always good to meet your boat neighbours, but after a long day on passage, we wanted to go and stretch our legs before bed. And a spot of reflection.
It's the first time I actually came down below while we were sailing and could actually do stuff, whereas before it's just been...
Not first time ever, but this last couple of weeks, last few passages have been hard work.
They have been hard work,
Since we left Gulf to Bouillon.
Yeah, and I found that it's much more comfortable helming, being up top on watch. So I've been doing that for the last few passages and enjoying that. But actually today I was able to come down and watch a programme.
She watched 3 episodes of Bridgerton.
Don't tell them my secrets. Don't tell them my terrible secrets.
3 episodes of Bridgerton, which she's seen before.
The next day, a family runsplaw around Roscoff to restock for lunch.
This is a French brunch, but if you remember when we were in the Lorient, no, not in the Lorient, we were in Vans, we found the British section, we got some baked beans, and we've done the ultimate thing. We've never done this before, you should do it. Baked beans and cheese croissants. English bastardisation of a classic French meal.
So now it's no, because it's not French, because you said French, then stop
The window thing is absolutely stinking wind right now, but it's all supposed to drop, so it should calm. We've got a little bit of a window tomorrow, and we think we can get across to Jersey or Guernsey tomorrow. So we're going to go now. We're all going to put our raincoats on and just run up to this harbour office with our passports and our completed form and say we're leaving tonight at midnight. Got your documents?
I love having an official folder. It makes me feel organised.
Once we've checked in France, we're just going to spend a little while going shopping. We've got a few things to do before we actually leave. You know, we'll go.
Oh, crab!
Oh yeah, mini crab.
Go, 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 go! So windy, this is ridiculous. Nothing open? Let's try and get in. Let's go back on a ferry.
Well, customs.
Yeah,
what,
no,
I went
she
with.
just-
Yeah, what did she say?
You're the one that asked her.
She said something about the door on the left.
Oh,
Oh, here you go. Here you go.
oh yeah, brigade de surveillance.
Press the button one time. Thank you. One time.
Okay, what's happened?
We've officially left France. My official folder did its job.
We had to pretend that we were leaving that day in order to check out with French customs. They don't open early enough to allow us to check out with them the next morning. I'm surprised they believed us. No one in their right mind would sail in this. We just hoped the weather forecast was right and it would calm down as predicted.
So I'm sat here now, doing a bit of thinking, working out where we're going. This is basically how you passage plan nowadays. Look, just do this. Put your finger there. And then it just goes, go this way.
Although we've had a couple of problems with my...
As Kelly rightly points out, the problem with doing this is the settings can elude you a little bit. Yesterday when we were coming past Labouac, and just before that, it tried to take us the inland route, which was, I mean, it was okay. I think we would have had about 100 foot of width inside this channel with only, you know, a couple of metres water underneath us, which in calm, benign conditions would have been fine, but this was right on the outside of the corner near Ushant and all that, and it was quite choppy and windy, and we were just like, no, we won't take that route. But it took us a couple of minutes to realise that we didn't want to go the way the computer told us. So you've got to be careful with your passage planning. That's one of the issues with how we're living our life. We're so hectically trying to stay on top of 3 young people, as well as move every 2 days, and also trying to set up business online, and also try and maintain and build this boat, and all the other many things we're doing, that passage planning is sometimes a little bit on the job survival. But we haven't done anything unsafe, if that makes sense. So I'm fairly happy. Anyway, I've had a quick look. This is the best gap with the weather. If we didn't go tomorrow, which is Saturday, we're going to be waiting till at least Tuesday. And the hope is actually Tuesday, Wednesday, we might get across the English Channel and back into UK proper. Oh yeah, did I tell you? I put all the kids' cereal for the morning already in Tupperware boxes with their spoons in, so all I've got to do is pass them up to the cockpit, pour milk in, boom. We were going to do the sandwiches, but we can't be asked. So we'll just have to make those while we're bouncing around like we normally do. And everything's already stowed, the canopy's down, everything's ready to go, which is pretty cool, which is pretty good for us. So we're learning on the job, we're getting there. Goodbye, France. 5 minutes late, but that's all right, I can make that up. Sunrise!
And a wonderful aquatic escort.
So we're going quite nicely now. The last checkpoint at my 9 o'clock BST or 10 o'clock French time checkpoint. We were only 1.2 miles behind schedule. We're going a knot and a half slower than I'd like to, but it's just so beautiful. It's so peaceful, it's so calm. And then not only that, it's so peaceful and calm right now, even though we are on we're almost on the beam, close hauled, and Kelly's doing this.
I'm going to try and make a cake. We've got some old bananas and I thought I'd try and make a banana bread and you can join me and see how. Got a recipe, some butter, some bananas. We're on 88% power at the moment.
125 grams of butter. You can't use scales on a boat, so I had to convert it to cups. 150 grams of coconut sugar. Melt them together.
Wedge myself in.
3 mashed bananas. Add an egg. Still persisting with the scales. 190 grams of self-raising flour. You also can't measure liquids as the jug isn't level. So 60 millilitres of milk was measured in a cup. 100 grams of chocolate drops.
Cake's just about to go in the oven. 45 minutes and we should have a cake.
45 minutes at 150 degrees centigrade. 10% battery for one cake. Totally worth it.
Macrème anglaise, custard,
Is it banana?
or
Custard.
coulis de caramel.
Custard. Banana bread. It's yummy. We like it in our tummy. It's amazing that we're in England. Yes. Have some cake. Yay.
Takes me back to the RSC. When I did a season in the theatre, up in the green room, they had a banana cake. And it tasted just like this. 5 minutes ago, it was all glorious cake eating in the outside al fresco dining. Now everyone's run inside and I've got the spray hood up. It's not awful, it just feels like British drizzle, so we must be getting close. Tilly's doesn't care.
I'm frying the cake.
And then it all cleared up again in time for tea.
Here we are in Jersey. We are back inside the UK corridor. We've taken a gamble twice on what looked like a weather window, and both times it turned out so.
But it wasn't a gamble because we've learnt how to read the weather better. We've learnt how to use the app, you know, the information better.
The waves is a big thing, isn't
The
it?
waves, yeah, definitely. The waves app's an amazing one. We kind of understand that now. We know what we're going to be getting, what seat state we're going to be getting. We also know what we can tolerate as well, because before this, I think we'd have been, like, if we'd had some of the weather we've had in the last 2 days on our first couple of days, we'd have been like, don't want to do this anymore. And in fact, that was like with the channel, wasn't it? We came across the channel and I was like, I was kind of wanted to call the whole thing off. But now, that channel, I could do that. But we know how to handle the boat now. We know how to ride the gusts. We know how to, there's just, you know, we have learnt so much. And so it wasn't a gamble, these last 2 jumps. It's just a more informed way of being.
And Kel, what was so exciting thing just happened?
So I've just heard on the VHF our first like proper English voice for like 7 weeks or however long.
It was good. I just had
And it's like a proper posh one as well.
Yeah.
Proper posh seaman voice. No, that sounds weird. Proper.
posh seaman. Kelly loves a posh seaman. But yeah, it was strange having a VHF conversation and knowing they can understand every word and you can understand every word they said. It's like, oh, the lights are on red, just waiting for some commercial traffic to come out and then you're clear to go. Oh,
Did you think you could suddenly understand French?
yeah, I was like, yes, I've done it, I've nailed it.
We watched a movie. We
Played Monkey Island.
yeah, I played a bit of Monkey Island.
Oh,
I
saw
did a little
dolphins
bit.
this morning.
Yeah, we saw dolphins
We saw
this time.
the space station, and we saw shooting stars, and I saw about 5 shooting stars, which is probably as many as I've seen in my entire life, and one of them was like a real, like a firework.
That's such a great passage.
And now, do you know what? Kelly's favourite thing is a Waitrose just over there. And it'll still be open.
Oh my
It'll be open for another 20 minutes.
Almond milk! Almond milk!
So surprised.
Innocent almond milk!
English chocolate eclairs with cream inside rather than weird chocolate inside. Oh, they're so much better in England.
There's pickle in England.
Maybe there's chutney and boursin.
Francis.
Oh, no, but what we can get, wait for this, guys, is proper English pastries. I'm talking Cornish pasties, sausage rolls, pies.
Ah, the
We haven't had any of those.
pasties.
We haven't had I haven't had a pasty for like 10 weeks.
I've got to get rid of my addiction to the French ham. Yeah, it's not even, it's the Italian stuff.
£50 a packet, Parma ham.
Yeah, the fancy stuff. I've got to get rid of that addiction.
I also just fancy a Chinese, which I know is not English.
Oh yeah,
but like
I love Chinese.
a curry or a Chinese.
Tomorrow, you can run to the shops, buy all the delicious foods that you can't get in France and only in England, and then run back like that.
Oh, I know what I'm gonna get.
What?
A decaf oat milk latte.
Oh, Starbucks. We just realised there's one more thing we've got to do before we go to bed.
What's the French national anthem? Dun, 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 dun.
That's American.
I know.
That's like an American national anthem.
What's the French national anthem?
All I can think of is. Anyway, I've just spent about 10 minutes outside just patting Esperance. Our friend Dave, who owned Misty, he always said, and every time you leave Misty, now if you tie her up and you walk away, you got to tap the boat and go, thanks Misty, thanks for looking after us. And for the first time ever, I felt like I get that. I've always felt a bit silly doing it, but I've always done it out of respect for Dave. And then like today, I was just like, I do, even though we've still got 80 miles to go and across the English Channel, I do feel like we're back in England. And I just sort of actually found myself just going, yeah, thanks Esperance, because there is a real element of this boat, like today, big crash, bang, what was it? Oh, it was a kid's pen pot fell over and the clothes horse, which we'd left up, which is obviously going to fall over. But the boat itself is fine. Like Esperance, the mast could touch the water. She could come down right round and she would come back up and everything would hold together because she's so solid. Point was, walked away from Esperance, as much as I hate Esperance sometimes, and quite a lot of the time, and most of the time, because it's just a massive ball ache of a job. I was a bit like, I can't believe we actually made it all this way.